Watching the Brady Sports Fusion episode. My name is Alex Fuse. We got a big show for you tonight. We have another Sports Center anchor on, Max Bretos. So, Max, let's get right into it with the soccer. How do you think, or who do you think, will be the leading soccer in the Premier League by the end of the season?
Well, we've never seen a season like this in the Premier League, and I've been covering it since 1998. I mean, when we started here in the States, so it was new to me then, but generally, the cream rises to the top, the cream being the big clubs that spend the most money. Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal. You have Leicester City there, and I think we've all been waiting for them to fall off the back wheel here, but they just continue to get results. And as weeks go by, I start feeling more and more comfortable saying that they have a real shot to win this thing, which would just be stunning. I don't think we've ever seen something like that of this magnitude with the club. Of that, those kind of resources to do that well. In the end, I thought Arsenal had a good shot, but they're just so inconsistent. I think Manchester City will find their way to the top. They were my first choice at the top of the season, but the way the season's unfolded, I think Manchester City would be your best bet. And I think Leicester City finished second or third, which would still be a remarkable story.
So what team do you think will win the league this year?
Sorry, say that again?
Who do you think will win the Champions League this year?
Champions League. I think most people would have to say it's going to be Barcelona because they look better than they did last season, and they don't look fatigued with the long year. And I think most people would imagine another year with Neymar, Luis Suarez, and Messi together will only make them stronger, and that's clear what is happening. I'm really intrigued with what Paris Saint-Germain is doing. The problem is they're not getting the good competition playing in the French league. I think they haven't lost a game all season, and they're 22, 23-round teams. So they're just blowing people out of the water there.
Yeah.
The question is, how will they fare when they take a step up in class? So I think they're going to make a deep run. I think they play Chelsea. I think they'll get by them. And depending on the draw, I mean, they could make a semi, maybe a final. But I think you if you want to play your cards straight and close to the vest, you go with Barcelona to repeat.
So what are your thoughts on PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, being 21 points ahead in the standings of League One?
Yeah, it's just you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, no one's going to invest that kind of money with other French clubs. It's been kind of a little sad how all these French clubs have sold their best players and have kind of waved the white flag with PSG. Which just spends and spends and spends. But I think it goes both ways. I mean, yes, they spend a lot, but they've also, I think they've curtailed their spending the last couple of years and used the players that they've bought to make the impact over the last couple of years. Certainly like Cavani and Zlatan and some of these midfielder guys that you forget their names, but they're just as valuable. But it's obviously not good for the French league. I imagine someone is going to get up there and compete with them. I think we saw that in Germany with Bayern Munich, where the gap starts to close. I think that'll eventually happen. But right now, this is PSG at their absolute best. That's why I like their prospects in the Champions League as well.
And I just want to ask you, you host a show with Coachman, don't you? I
sure do. I see Jonathan Coachman more than I see my wife. That's definitely not a good thing. But I've actually, Jonathan, I first met, I worked at WWE briefly in 2007.
Oh, wow.
And we became friends then. I mean, it was, I discovered very quickly that wasn't the best place for me to work. I was a big wrestling fan leading up to it. But we met there and then we reunited in ESPN, and now they've put us together on SportsCenter. We also have our radio show, and he's a good guy. We get along great, which sometimes surprises me, but he's good to work with, and we definitely look out for each other.
Yeah. So you said you worked at WWE. So how was it like working there?
Well, it's something It was a strange year when I was there. It was 2007. I was working at Fox Soccer Channel, and I was given the blessing where I could do this. I traveled 2 days a week, and what I would do is I would travel and go to Raw or SmackDown. Eventually, I was on SmackDown. And I would do a few interviews in the backstage. But there's a lot of times where I wasn't doing anything. And I think the trick was there is you've got to make yourself useful. Maybe I would have done it differently and introduced myself and pitched some ideas. Because once they have their show rolling, it doesn't stop. And I think Tommy Dreamer gave me the best advice he says, "Hey, while you're here, I don't know who you are. You should go introduce yourself to everyone." I goes, "Okay," so I did that. But that was a crazy year. I mean, that year I remember 4 months in, we had the Chris Benoit tragedy, and there was another wrestler who I think had an overdose. So they were dealing with a lot of somber in-house issues, and I've never dealt with that anywhere else I've worked, and it was an eye-opener. The travel, I have so much respect for those guys for what they do, but I don't think mere mortals can do it where they travel the way these guys do under those circumstances. I mean, it's not like you're going to New York, LA. You're going to Shreveport, Louisiana. You're going to Montreal, and the next week you're in Kansas City. I mean, you're everywhere. Yeah,
and then 1 week you'll be in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a real toll, and you see the toll it takes on these guys.
Yeah.
And it was, I've never really experienced it. I mean, and I got to say, working with Vince McMahon, there's a man whose aura is bigger than life. I mean, when he walks in the room, you kind of like shudder, you get your back up against the wall because of that aura that he has as a businessman and as an entertainer. I certainly value, I certainly remember those moments. I remember a couple times I pleased him with something, and he said, "Good job, Max." Those were very rare. I was there, but I remember them.
Yeah. So I just want to say, SportsCenter has started covering WWE a few months ago. So how has it been like there about them covering WWE? And Coachman does his own show, right?
Well, yeah, Jonathan. I still kill me if I call him Jonathan. The coach. He's really worked hard to put this on the map. As you can imagine, there's a pushback for sports channels and sports fans to deal with WWE because it's not a sport, it's entertainment. But at this day and age, Coach really identified this, is that we've got to get ratings. We've got to draw in a new audience. So that's something we can do. And then he has a very good relationship with the folks at WWE, and they give him access to the footage and the wrestlers. And it's a unique little way. I mean, that's the way we view, I know, what we talk every day about how we want to push these sports centers. And we've taken ownership of the shows, and we try to give it a unique look, and we play to our strengths. So, you know, sometimes I'll go with soccer, he goes with wrestling, but he's done a great job with that. And I know a lot of people internally have taken notice, and maybe that creates a whole new relationship. We certainly hope so. I mean, I think I'm very proud of what he's been able to do with that.
Okay, so switching gears to the NFL, the Super Bowl is coming up fast, and in a few days. So I had the Panthers in the Super Bowl. Who do you have?
I have the Panthers. I think this could be the beginning of a super team. I think the pieces are in place for, you know, we didn't know about the Seahawks, and now we certainly do about them being they could have been a 2-time Super Bowl winner if not for one play. And then in the last 2 years, guys like Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor became superstars in the best of their position. I think the same thing's going to happen with Carolina. If it hasn't happened already, Luke Kuechly it could be the best linebacker. Josh Norman could be the best defensive back. Kawan Short could be the best defensive lineman. And Cam Newton certainly on his way to being the best quarterback. I think as time goes by, I like the Broncos because their defense is just eye-opening. And I think thinking about Peyton Manning, he's like the mad scientist. He gets a little more time to think about it. And certainly, as it would appear through the last game, he might have a couple things up his sleeve. And it could make it closer than I think it is. But I think in the end, the Panthers win by 10.
Okay, Max, before we wrap up this interview, I just want to say I had Jay Harris, who's also from SportsCenter, on, and he also wanted me to tell you that you are a weasel.
Jay Harris? Who said that? Jay Harris?
Yep.
All right. Well, if you ever have him back, tell him he dresses funny.
Okay, Max, thanks for coming on this Sports Fusion episode.
I love Jay, but he keeps wearing, last time he wore like some clothes like it was like 20 degrees outside, it was like 50 degrees.
Okay.
He's got thin skin.
Yeah. Okay, Max, thank you for coming on.
You got it, no problem.